you ready? COVID-19 hasn't been the first pandemic that have struck the world.
Really?
From ancient times to modern times, pandemics have struck entire civilization, but still we have managed to survive.
So today we're gonna tell you 10 deadliest pandemics that can help us see how our ancestors have managed to survive and maybe figure it out how we can all too.
We can overcome these, guys!
Let's go! Woo!
The oldest pandemic is the death of Justinian. It happened during the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th century and spread throughout the entire Roman Empire. The virus was called Yersinia pestis, and it was transmitted by the bite of a black rat, and it killed around 30 to 50 million people in 2 consecutive centuries. The symptoms: fever, headache, chills, swollen lymph node, abdominal pain, and gangrene. There was no cure for the disease.
The second one on our list is the Black Death, also known as the bubonic plague. It hit Europe in 1347 by a virus called Yersinia pestis. Similar to the Justinian death, this disease was also transmitted by the black rat's bites. It claimed 200 million lives within just 4 years. The bubonic plague attacked the lymphatic system, causing swelling in the lymph nodes. Blood and pus seeped out of the swelling and then followed an array of unpleasant symptoms like chills, headache, fever, body aches, and short after, death. Good news, there is actually a vaccine, but according to the WHO, there are still 1,000 to 3,000 cases of this plague reported yearly.
The third one is cholera and has been going since the 19th century. The first pandemic was recorded from 1817 to 1824 AD, but the deadliest one so far was recorded from 1852 to 1859. The name of the virus is Vibrio cholera, and people got infected when consume liquids or eat food that has the bacteria on it. Cholera infects 1.3 to 4 million people each year, killing 21,000 to 143,000 people according to the WHO. Now you might be wondering if there is a vaccine. Yes, but cholera experts says that there is no better replacement for the vaccine than clean water and good sanitation.
The fourth one is the 1918 influenza pandemic, which is caused by a virus called H1N1 virus. When an infected person coughs, sneezes, or breathes, respiratory droplets are released into the air and float around. Then, whoever inhaled these droplets will get infected. In addition, people can also get infected by touching surfaces that have these droplets on them. And then they touch their face, their nose, their mouth, and eventually get infected. The death toll, get ready for it, 15 million people worldwide. The first wave of the 1918 influenza pandemic was in the spring. It was mild. The symptoms include typical symptoms of a regular flu like chills, fever, and discomfort. However, the second wave, much more fatal, can cause a person to die after a couple of hours or days after being infected because their skin started to turn blue and their lungs will be filled with a liquid that caused them to suffocate. In the summer of 1919, the disease unfortunately wiped out all of the people who were infected, and by then, a vaccine were still not found.
The fifth pandemic is smallpox. You might have heard about this one because it's an ancient virus. The virus is called the variola virus, and it was transmitted from person to person by contact. Before 1979, people battled this disease for thousands of years. It used to kill 1 in 3 persons that got infected with the virus and left survivors with deep permanent scars and often blindness. The initial symptoms of the smallpox are high fever, head and body aches, and sometimes vomit. Then the patient will start seeing a small rash in the mouth and in the tongue. Then the patient starts developing a small rash that will slowly spread through the arms, the body, and the legs. There is a vaccine for the virus. It is made from a virus called vaccinia, which is similar to the virus that eventually gives smallpox, but is less harmful.
Number 6 is HIV/AIDS. The name of the virus is HIV. This disease was first detected in 1980 and it still continues to the present. You can only get HIV when you come into direct contact with certain body fluids from a person who has HIV. These fluids include blood, semen, preseminal fluids, rectal fluids, vaginal fluids, and breast milk. You come into direct contact with these fluids by having anal sex or vaginal sex with someone who has HIV without using a condom or taking medicines to prevent and treat HIV, or sharing injection drug treatment like needles with someone who has HIV. According to WHO, as of 2018, 75 million people have been infected with HIV and 32 million people have died. Within 2 to 4 weeks infected with HIV, about 2/3 of the people will show flu-like symptoms like fever, chills, night sweats, body aches. The rest of the people will not show any symptoms. The only way to know whether or not you have HIV is to get tested. Currently, there are no vaccines available for this disease.
Position number 7. It is SARS. It broke out at the end of 2002 to mid-2003. The name of the virus is SARS-CoV, and it is transmitted from person to person to a proximity of up to 3 feet. Also, it is transmitted by droplets when an infected person sneezes or coughs. The symptoms were body aches, high fever, headache, and chills, and of course, discomfort. There is no vaccine available for this virus.
Number 8 on the list is the H1N1 swine flu, started from 2009 to 2010. This pandemic is caused by the influenza A H1N1 PDM09 virus. The H1N1 swine flu was spread from people to people just like the seasonal flu through respiratory droplets that are expelled when people sneeze, cough, or breathe. In addition, people can also get infected with this disease by touching surfaces with these droplets on them and then starting to touch their face, their nose, and their mouth. The CDC estimated around 600,000 people who died from this disease during the first year the virus circulated. There's an array of symptoms like fever, but not always, chills, cough, sneezes, body aches, diarrhea, vomiting. Luckily, there's a vaccine that can help to prevent H1N1.
Number 9 in our list is MERS, which stands for Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. The name of the virus is MERS coronavirus. It is a virus that started in 2012 and is still present. Like other coronaviruses, spread from sick people respiratory secretions. 2,400 cases have been confirmed, and 1/3 of those who got infected have died.
Number 10 is Ebola, which started in 2014 to 2016. This disease is caused by an infection with a group of virus within the genus Ebola virus. The virus spreads through direct contact. For example, through broken skin or mucous membranes of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. At the time, almost 29,000 people were infected, and among these people, 11,000 people died. There are a lot of symptoms, including body aches, fever, diarrhea, vomiting, unexplained bleeding or bruising. Currently, there is no vaccine or cure for Ebola.
Right now, my friends, we're going through COVID-19. The death toll as of today have risen to 585,000 of people worldwide. People can catch COVID-19 from a person who has the virus, primarily through respiratory droplets, which are expelled when a person with COVID sneezes, speaks, or coughs. Well guys, that's our list. Our ancestors went through many terrible pandemics, and back then, the resources and technologies were limited. Some pandemics wipe out people faster than scientists could find a vaccine.
Nowadays, we're so lucky to have many health workers working at the front line to help us find a vaccine for COVID-19.
The least that we can do for them is stay healthy, keep practicing social distancing, and wear masks.
You don't want us to die before someone can find a vaccine, right?
So let's learn from history and let's get through this together.